Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Hey, what's happening, folks? Welcome back to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Now it is time that we go unwind and have a little bit of fun by listening to a little podcast where you get to hear me talk to people that are watching this and also discuss a little bit about some crazy news that's been happening all around in the world of animation. Now, before I go and get things started, I would like to go and start things out with a big disclaimer regarding this episode in particular. I think it would be more important than anything that I just want to start off by being fully transparent. I'm going to tell you all about what's happening with this episode in particular, in case you want to stick around for some of the things you're more interested, or you want to leave at the things that you're not interested. Because, yes, I will be discussing about a lot of the trailers that have come out, because there have been plenty that are actually really interesting and are really worth discussing here. But at the same time, at the end of this episode, I will indeed be talking about the coronavirus and how it is impacting the entertainment industry and how it's also impacting us as well. So if you guys just want to stick around for just the trailers and you want to head on out when the time has come to go and discuss about the coronavirus because you feel like you've heard too much about it, then at that point I do understand. But I figured I might as well start this off by giving you all a big warning about what's going to be happening in this episode, to be fully transparent, so no major surprises that are going to be coming up. At least you will know what's going to be discussed. And if you don't want to go into the more serious subject matter, then I do understand. But figured I might as well start off by telling you that, so at least you can prepare yourself for this episode. But with all that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you guys, are you all ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it. Are you all prepared? Let's see. Are we ready? Yes, I see some people are ready. Yes, okay. We got some people prepared. They're saying they're ready. That is great to hear. And with that said, let's go and get this one started. And let's start things off by talking about something just right now. I realize it is a major coincidence. I did not think this through, but it's only now I realize that there is something that I coincidentally made something pretty perfect. Because right now, as I am watching how everything is all set up and how everything is going, I realize right now that I'm wearing my Pixar shirt. And I was just wearing it because, oh, you know, it's the Crazy Cartoon Cast. Why not have like an animation shirt or something like that? But no, I realized that it's actually perfect to wear this shirt in particular. Considering that the main thing, the first thing that we are going to be discussing is actually the new trailer that has come out for the next Pixar movie. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out the new trailer for Pixar's Soul. So let me set this up. All right, now let's get ready to check it out in 3, 2, 1, go.
What the?
Oop, hold on a sec. All right, there we go. Now it's ready.
What is this place?
Oh, it is ready.
What's your name, honey?
I'm Joe. I teach middle school band. Got it, go for it. Today started out as the best day of my life.
Back here tonight, first show's at 7.
Yes! Woohoo! You know what that's gonna say? Joe Gardner. I did it. I got the gig.
Must have been sudden for you.
What? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Help! I'm not done! Oh my goodness!
So, it's the great before. This is where new souls get their personalities, quirks, and interests before they go to Earth.
Meet 22.
I don't want to go to Earth.
Stop fighting this.
I don't want to. Hey, look, I already know everything about Earth, and I don't want anything to do with it.
You're missing out on the joys of life, like pizza. I can't smell. We can't taste either?
All that stuff is in your body.
No smell, no taste.
Or touch. See?
Okay, I get it. Wow, it's my life.
Is all this living really worth dying for? You're still alive?
Can you help me get back?
No way!
There I am. What are we waiting for?
Wait, not me!
That's weird.
What is it?
151,000 souls going to the great beyond every day, and I count every single one of them. The count's off.
Huh.
And that was the trailer, the full trailer of Pixar's Soul. And I just gotta say, hold on, just to properly set this up. All right, there we go. Just, put in the title. I just have to say, considering that just recently we actually did have a Pixar movie released, and one thing that I was kind of surprised about is that this trailer came in a little bit later than I expected, because I thought it would be out around the same time as Onward would be released. Like, the first immediate trailer that we have to see that's a staple with Onward would be the trailer for Soul to hype up Pixar's next animated feature. But that doesn't seem the case, and it looks like right now they decided to release it the week after Onward is released. But with that said, in case you guys are a bit disappointed with Onward, that this might have not satisfied your Pixar need of the year, that it didn't fully meet to your expectations, then Soul is definitely going to deliver on that. I definitely do feel like, in terms of Pixar movies, we are absolutely reliving 2015. Because so far, with not only we have 2 Pixar movies released in 1 year, but we got one that is not as good as some of the other Pixar films, and then we got another one that is pretty much one of the best. Like, when you look back at 2015, you got one that is The Good Dinosaur, which, it's true, it's not as good as the other Pixar films, and not many people are fond of looking at that movie as much as the other ones that they have made. And then you got Inside Out, which is highly creative, highly unique, highly original, directed by Pete Docter, coincidentally. And also with Inside Out, right now it's considered one of the greatest animated films, if not one of the best films of the 2020 decade. Inside Out is the one that pops up the most in terms of an animated film whenever you would find one on any list of the top 10 or the top best movies of the 2010 decade. If there has to be that one animated film involved, then it's got to be Inside Out. And with Soul, so far, and I'm not saying that, oh, I know it's going to be great, I know it's going to be amazing. There could be that chance it's going to suck. But so far with what I'm seeing with this trailer, oh my god, this blew my mind, honestly. And already, Soul is currently one of my most, or if not my most anticipated movie of the year, because it feels like it has everything that can conjure up what could potentially be not just a great animated film, but an amazing animated film. And honestly, the feelings that I got when watching this trailer of what the movie could potentially be, the best way to describe it is that it's a little bit like Inside Out in a way, but not necessarily with the same kind of narrative or the same kind of style or something like that. It was honestly very tough to find the right words to know why I feel this way. Why do I feel like that same sense of Inside Out, but with Soul? And I think I managed to figure it out. It's mainly because it's the same storytelling or filmmaking style. I mean, especially considering that it is directed by Pete Docter, or at least one of the directors is Pete Docter. I believe there are a few directors working on this, but anyways, with Soul, it's that the same kind of structure that we saw in Inside Out in terms of both storytelling and filmmaking. It's the same thing that we find here with Soul, but in Soul, we do see that it's purely 100% original, that this is something that we have never seen before, especially in movies and in animation. And I think I might as well start things off with the animation as well, where that's probably the closest connection that we can find with Inside Out, where we have two different worlds happening, where we got one world that is meant to be a bit more realistic, where we got the real world, where it's meant to resemble ours, and like the amount of detail that they put in is absolutely phenomenal. And I mean, it is Pixar, and that's what they do best. They got they got the huge budget for it, and they're able to afford to really make their worlds highly immersive. Like, I'll even give credit. If you guys haven't seen my review of Onward, it's something that I've said also on that film, where even though the concept of it is generic, making a contemporary version of like medieval fantasy and stuff like that, but the amount of detail that's been put into the environment and into the animation is awe-inspiring. And it's the same thing here, where we have this strong sense of realism in the real world, where at the most, if we would find something that is more animated, it would be the character designs, where like the faces are a lot more round or a lot more cartoony. But then again, that is like, considering that Pete Docter is heavily involved, like, that is something that we would expect from him, that this is a guy who really does emphasize shapes when it comes to his designs. And if you don't believe me, look at Up, for example, or even look at Inside Out, and notice, like, just take a look at look at just the shapes itself, just the shapes of the characters themselves. Like, you look at I'm not sick. Don't worry. I know I cough, but relax. I'm fine. Anyways, going back to what I'm talking about, like, you look at Up and you notice the shapes of the characters. Like, you notice the round egg shape of Russell, or you notice the square shape of Carl Fredricksen. Here it's a little bit the same thing, especially when you go into like when you go into the before life, or like when you go into the other world per se. Like, this is another one where the designs are heavily inspired by shapes, and you look at the shape of the characters. And let's talk about what's probably the more interesting part about the animation, which is when you go into what was it, the before life or something? Hold on, just need a reminder of what they said.
No, it's the great before.
Yeah, the great before. Thank you. Okay, I was trying to figure out. It's like, what do they call it? The before life or something like. Okay, so the when you go into the world of the great before, like, you see a little bit of that same style of Inside Out, with the fantasy characters and like the little, kind of like the little particles that are all around them and all around the environment as well. But with the way that they created like the characters and the style of the backgrounds, and it, like, even with the lines that they're using, a lot of this, it's like, this is highly inspired by modern art. And this might be something that I might have stated before when analyzing some of the looks of Soul, like when we saw the teaser trailer or some of the previews or some of the concept art and stuff like that. But when you do look at it, like, the art style is actually very, very reminiscent to modern art, like the kind of artwork that you would find in like jazz clubs, because like that's going to be a major theme with Soul. It's going to be music. It's a lot like Coco in a sense, but with Coco, where it does emphasize on Latin music and Mexican culture. In here in Soul, they're going to be focusing more on like Harlem style streets and jazz as well. And you can actually see that art style, especially like when you feature some of the characters, like when they're not like the blue flubber like blobs, like when you see the people that are kind of like in charge of the Great Before, like they all compromise of just lines. And a lot of people may have mentioned this before, but you also notice, like, when you do look at the backgrounds and not just these characters, like, a great example is, like, when you see Tina Fey's character and Joe Gardner, who's going to be played by Jamie Foxx. Like, you look at it all around, like, when they're in the cafeteria, you look around and you will notice how everything is emphasized with a white line in order to fill in the details. So this is almost like modern art coming to life, and it's such an amazing and beautiful sight to see, and also really does pop up in a way where this is like, and like, it's actually kind of amazing where we are starting to see this trend where it's 3D animation emulating 2D. And there's also another part that really does highlight that as well. Like when you see Joe freaking out, just realizing like, oh crap, am I dead? Like, no, I can't die. It can't be true. Like when he runs out and suddenly he tries to escape, manages to do so, and then falls down again. And then suddenly, like, we reach to this area. We reach to the area where it's literally nothing but lines, and the only things that are emphasized are just the outlines of the characters, giving out this beautiful, stylized look. It's just fantastic. It truly is a feast for the eyes. So, like, I definitely know that in terms of the animation, it's definitely gotta sell. And also, another thing I want to mention, you look at the glasses, and it is the same thing. Like, if you look at Joe's glasses when he is just a little blue blob, like, you do see a bit of that same style, that it's just the outlines that are emphasized to give that 2D feel into it. So, honestly, the animation is definitely going to sell in the feature, but also, at the same time, it's not just the animation. This is not like a style over substance type of movie. This isn't like Connected, where it does supply great animation, but a not-so-great script. You could actually get a feeling here where the script also is going to have a lot of substance, and in a way, it's going to go very deep. Because if you do look back at many of the great Pixar films, whenever they go into some serious subject matter, like, they know how to do it and really tell it in a way that can really have audiences emotionally invested in them. Like the subject of family and Mexican culture in Coco, or especially Toy Story 4 is a great recent example about touching into serious subject matters and using that to emotionally tell their story. And in the case of Soul here, like, it looks like the subject matter that they're going to go into. Now, I did mention before that that jazz will play a heavy theme in the movie, but at the same time, you do notice that it's also going to discuss about life and death at the same time. Like, honestly, this is the kind of thing that it looks like it's really going to get into the meaning of life in a way. This is like Pixar's interpretation of what the meaning of life is, and is life actually worth living? Like, it's gonna go deep into that subject matter, and if there's an animation studio that I would trust the most to actually get into that kind of subject matter and really tell that well in a very thoughtful and intellectual and emotional way, it definitely has to be Pixar, and I totally trust them, especially with a movie that is going to be directed by Pete Docter. And also, one thing that I will say that is a great job as well, something that I would even say it actually did improve compared to the teaser trailer, it has to be the characters. Because number one, already I feel connected to, like this is the one where we are fully introduced to Joe Gardner, who's going to be the main character, and we learn a bit more about his life. Now, we know that in the teaser trailer, he's the guy that really gave out that epic emotional speech, but, well, not emotional, but that epic inspirational speech about, like, you know, really going out there, you know, and fully live your life and do what you love to do and all that kind of stuff. So definitely that's one to go and really admire and to look up to. And like in here, it really does emphasize about Joe's life and his perspective on life as well. Like, is life worth living? And then in contrast, and probably the biggest improvement of them all, is Tina Fey's character. Because you guys remember in the teaser trailer, like Tina Fey, hold on, like we got little, like yeah, this one, like you got Tina Fey's character. She's probably the weakest element from the teaser trailer, where she's just there to do that dumb joke. It's like, yeah, I like to do this cowboy dance, you know, and that's pretty much it. But in here, she's actually very interesting, and like now you can actually see that she does have a point in this movie. Like, now we see a little bit more of her role, where in a way, at least from what this trailer is telling us, it's almost like she's kind of the opposite of Joe, in a sense, where Joe is more optimistic about life. He wants to live life, whereas Tina Fey's character, she doesn't want to live life. Like, she wants nothing to do with living on Earth, and she rather wants to stay in the Great Before. Like, maybe she's kind of like the rebel of this movie. And in here, we do see a little bit more of that character, and it does explain more. So, like, maybe we could see, like, a story plot where the two can actually learn from each other, considering that they would discuss about life and death and stuff like that. So, honestly, it's great to see that, okay, now we see her purpose in it. Now we see her role. Like, maybe her jokes could be a little iffy. Like, I will confess, if there is one flaw that I will give it, is that maybe, like, her jokes are not necessarily the strongest. Like the scene over here where the punchline is just, like, we just see, like, Tina Fey just slapping Joe all around, like, again and again and again. Like, and that's it. So, like, maybe there is that. I'm not saying it's a bad joke, but it's just like, I don't know. But other than that, though, now I'm fully sold on this. Like, I think overall, I would say that for this trailer, this has honestly really hyped me up to see this movie. This looks like it has amazing potential, and I feel like there could be a very strong chance this is going to be, like, the favorite animated film of the year, like the one that people will absolutely adore, the one that will be critically praised, that audiences will love, that that they'll love Pixar all over again. And even during award season, I would not be surprised that even the haters of Disney and Pixar and all that kind of stuff, like, they'll give Soul a pass. Like, Soul is going to be the kind of film that's going to win all the awards for Best Animated Feature. And even the Disney and Pixar haters would be like, okay, we'll give you that one. Okay, you deserve that one. You can have a pass on that. Even they would go, like, they would hold their complaints to give this an award because, like, it would deserve it. So overall, the animation looks gorgeous. The story looks very promising, and it looks like it's going to be very thoughtful and full of substance. And I'm really digging into many of these characters. Like, I'm digging into Joe especially. He looks like a great likable character, and I can even give Tina Fey's character some credit, where she looks like she will add on, like, she will give more substance onto the feature. So I'm totally excited for this one. I'm already hyped up for it, and if you guys are hyped up for it as well, then all you have to do is just wait until June 19th, when the movie will officially be released. So, with that said, I would like to now go and pass on to the chat wall, where I want to go and ask you all, what do you think about the trailer of Soul? Did you guys like it? Are you hyped up for the movie? Are you guys more iffy about it? You may not agree with me. Let me know what you all think. Okay, let's see here. We got a lot now. Let's see. I think Soul is going to be the big Pixar film of 2020, while Onward is just good. In fact, I feel like this film will be to Onward what Inside Out was to The Good Dinosaur. in 2015 and what Coco was to Cars 3 in 2017. However, with the coronavirus going around, I hope that nothing affects the two films, resulting them to become box office bombs like The Good Dinosaur. I wish Pixar the best of luck. I'm going to save that last comment for later. I will go and actually discuss about that little part as well, but definitely. This does look like it has the strong chance to be the better Pixar film of that year, where at the end of the day, people will just reject films like Good Dinosaur and Cars 3 and will be more in favor of this. Like that there's a strong chance at this point. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Too Much Soul and R&B. I had two albums. One is Brandy's self-debut, and the other one is I'm Still Climbing by Brownstone. Because of that, soul is soul, period. I'll listen both on iTunes right now. Also, good luck for that, Pete Doctor. All souls are now truly blessed. Okay, I think so. I think this one likes it. I will admit, at first, I wasn't too hyped for this. The concept was a bit weird, and it wasn't all that funny, but after this, I can officially declare that I'm hooked. The visual styles are phenomenal, the music is brilliant, and I already like its exploration of passion. I'll definitely check it out as long as my theaters are still open. But if this film doesn't use Soul Man by Sam and Dave at any point, I will leave very disappointed. Honestly, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they would do that. Like, maybe just a little throwaway bit, like when Joe is playing with the band, or like maybe it would play during the credits or something like that. Maybe they would do that, but we'll see about it. But it's great that you're excited about this. All right, let's see now. I can't say I hated Inside Out. I did enjoy it, but I didn't find it as rewatchable as Coco was. I feel like I get more invested in Pixar movies that involve a family dynamic or the struggles of different types of interpersonal relationships, family, friendship, etc. Inside Out, Soul don't really feel like they focus nearly as much on those dynamics, but more on the larger scope. Inside Out is emotions, Soul is the importance of living. But yeah, that's just me. That's actually a very interesting perspective, you know? Like, if you are looking into the family dynamic, then this might not be for you. But, but at least Pixar, like, does supply a lot of those. If you want movies about families and friendships, in recent years, like, the sequels actually provide that very well with Incredibles 2 and Toy Story 4, where Incredibles 2 really does play a lot about family, and then Toy Story 4, the friendship and a little bit of love as well, does play a very significant factor. So at least Pixar did get you covered. And actually, I would even go as far and say that technically you would be the kind of person that would much prefer Onward, like maybe even more so than Soul. And that shouldn't be something you should be ashamed about, because like Onward is a movie that does really get into the aspect of family. So there is that. So if that's more your preference, then I don't blame you there. Okay, anyways. Let's see now. The character designs look bad and it looks very weird, but the animation is great and is a big improvement over Inside Out. Oh boy. Wow, someone coming in with the hot take. Anyways, but that doesn't really save it for looking bad, and the jokes are just unfunny. Soul isn't my thing. At least voice acting is good. I mean, you do know this is from Pixar, right? This isn't a Sony animation film. Nah, I'm just pulling your leg, man. All right, anyways, let's see here. What else do we got? This movie had my curiosity. Now it has my attention. I just love the visuals of The Great Before, especially on the characters who seem to operate it, who looks like they came from a Picasso painting. Though I do have a question. With this movie, Princess and the Frog, and technically also Spies in Disguise, why is the black main character in Disney animated movies always transformed into non-human creatures? Yeah, I mean, I'll just say right now, you're not the first to go and point that out, and it does seem to be a bit of a trend in a way where African American characters cannot stay as just African American people. They just gotta somehow turn into something else. They gotta turn into a bird, they gotta turn into a frog, or they gotta turn into a drop of water or something like that. I don't know. It's a bit of a thing. Technically, you could also say, you could technically throw in Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse in this. I mean, yeah, sure, Miles stays, as himself, but then again, he does turn into a Spider-Man in a way, and half of the time, he does have his face covered, so it's it kind of half counts in a way, but I guess, you can interpret that for yourself. But overall, I would say with this, yeah, you do definitely bring up a good point with that. Okay. I'll go and read one more, and then we're going to jump onto our next story. Anyways, wow, Pixar has been on a roll this year with some great concepts, with the fact that they're playing against stereotypes and having the world and settings make the characters interesting. We're both Onward and this movie Soul. The only thing that has me worried is Tina Fey's character comes off a little bit like Amy Poehler's character from Inside Out. It wasn't until I saw her Tina Fey, then I will take it Inside Out of my head. But otherwise, great job, and hope for its creativity. Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess because with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, of course, they're very similar, and I mean they're both adding some comical elements onto their respective Pixar films. So I guess there is that comparison. But I don't know. I would kind of disagree with you there, mainly because, when you think of Joy in Inside Out, she's a lot more of a major optimist, whereas in Soul, or at least what we are seeing in Soul, Tina Fey's character is a lot more pessimistic, so there is that major distinction of a difference there. So, once again, if you guys are excited, remember, mark your calendar for June 19th for the release of Soul. Okay, so now that we got this trailer done, I want to go, before I would go and discuss about the next trailer that we have here, I would like to go and ask the chat wall immediately, how many of you are interested in getting Apple TV Plus, or do you have Apple TV Plus? Let me hear it. Do you guys have it already? Are you using it? I'm just, curious to know if you guys have it. Let's see. Do you guys have Apple TV Plus? Let's see. Not me. I don't have it. No. Nope. Wow. Okay, so basically, a lot of people are either confused, or a lot of people, yep. I don't think I see a single yes on this. Oh, wait a minute. We do have one. Yes. I'm actually very surprised because I'm going to be very honest. I was expecting everyone to say no, but we do have that one yes. But regardless, there is one person, however, well, for that one person, they will actually be the lucky ones to actually check out this animated series that is actually going to be coming out. And what I am discussing about is going to be the series that will be brought to you by one of the creators of Bob's Burgers, Central Park. So now let's go and check this out.
Hello, everybody.
I love mornings in the park, the light through the trees, the birds and the squirrels.
It's Central Park, it's a haven, it's a jewel.
Sir, do not beat a statue. I love Hot Lips Turtle Head Day. More than Graffiti Removal Week?
Oh, I do love that.
I should get going.
Who's my special boy?
Me.
Look at you. You are my special boy.
Too bad you can't just stick him back up there, huh?
What?
Nothing.
I hate that park. It's just a patch of dirt and weeds. And we're gonna buy it. We're gonna do the biggest real estate deal in the history of the world.
Quick question over here, Betsy. Are you wearing a dog?
It's perfectly normal.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a little distracting.
No, it's not!
Someone needs to protect the park. It's impossible.
Nothing's impossible.
Did your voice just get really weird?
Central Park.
How many times did you text him?
What would you say is normal?
Twice.
Oh, no, 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 no.
I'm dying.
He's fine.
Throw this. See if you can get it into the park. Did you get it?
Right where I wanted it.
Where else can your son and daughter splash in dirty hot dog water?
Give us a quick strut. One for Mama. Come on.
Are we dancing? Yeah, we're dancing.
Is that dancing?
We gotta knock these bozos' wieners off.
Here at the midpoint, a park that's so central. The name's not that clever, but screw it, whatever. It's central in my heart.
Good luck managing the park. That's gonna go great for you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Nerd.
Yes, that is the trailer of Central Park, the upcoming animated series for Apple TV, and from one of the creators of Bob's Burgers, Lauren Bouchard, more specifically. And yes, it will indeed include an all-star cast. In fact, like if you have if you listen carefully, you will get to hear a lot of familiar names. Well, of course, the one who is prominently singing the most was Josh Gad, but we also have people like Stanley Tucci, Kristen Bell, David Diggs, Leslie Odom Jr., Kathleen Hahn, and Titus Burgess, and of course, so much more. So in a way, you could say this does sound like it could be a crossover of Bob's Burgers and a little bit of Frozen at the same time, considering that we do have Josh Gad singing all around, like, where's that weird hot dog water bit? Oh well. But yeah, like you do have a bit of that taste of Frozen as well, because it's not just Josh Gad singing all around about Central Park. Like even the song itself, like the song that you hear from this, like with the way that Josh Gad seems so overjoyous about Central Park and stuff like that, it really does sound like it's a song from, like it's sung by Olaf or something. Actually, I am curious to know, do we know who are the songwriters of this? Chatwall, if you can help me out with that as well. I am curious to know who are the ones that are writing the songs. I am curious to know, like, is this like did the you know the couple, wait, hold on, the Lopez couple, you know, if Robert and Kristen Emerson Lopez, like, did they work on this as well? I don't know, like, how deep into the crossover of Frozen and Bob's Burgers that we have in this. But I don't know, like, but with like I said, the song that we have just heard with Central Park, it really does sound like it could be like a New York themed Olaf song. Like maybe they would actually use this for the Broadway version of Frozen as well. Yeah, okay, no, it doesn't look like Robert and Kristen Anderson Lopez are, yeah, they're not involved with this, but still, like, it does sound like it could be a song that they would do for this, but it is, but even with this, it is a very Olaf type of song, but not just that as well, but apparently, the daughter of the family that we are focusing on top of that, she's actually voiced by Kristen Bell, and like we do hear just a little bit of her voice as well, like even in just this little bit, like you just get a little taste of Anna, maybe a sarcastic Anna, but just a little bit, like you hear that in there.
Bigger boy.
Too bad you can't just stick him back up there, huh?
What?
Nothing.
I can imagine, like, if ever there would be a feud with Anna and Elsa, or I don't know, like maybe they would do like some kind of parody, like during their kids' days when their parents were alive, like that like they would just throw in that little line for Anna to say. It's like, don't worry, Elsa, you'll always be my special girl. Yeah, too bad you couldn't stick her back up there, huh? What? Nothing. Just add that bit. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it is kind of quite a coincidence that we got both Anna and Olaf featured in here. But like, even though this is going to be a musical themed animated series, that doesn't necessarily mean that like, oh, you're gonna watch it and expect like some kind of like New York theme Frozen style animated series. That's not the case, because from watching this, I get a stronger vibe of Bob's Burgers much more than I would with Frozen or like with musicals. It's more like with this, it feels like another Bob's Burgers series, but it just so happens to have musical numbers and actors that were featured in Frozen and other movies and stuff like that. Because I will say, well, number one, and probably the most obvious thing, is the animation style. Like, when you do look at the characters, they're very much in the same style as Bob's Burgers. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Central Park gets popular enough, then maybe we would end up with some kind of crossover with Bob's Burgers, where you know that family is gonna come in and like they're gonna tour around New York, and like at one point they'll be in Strawberry Fields like, oh Bobby, look at this, oh it's a circle, oh it must be that John Lennon circle, you know, the one that it says right there, it says imagine, oh you know, just like, oh it's just like that John Lennon song, oh isn't that perfect, come on kids, all right, come on, let's take a picture, all right, how do you do it? Hold on. I think the gyroscope is not working. Hold on. All right, there we go. Now, all right, smile. Say cheese. You know, just have that little bit happen. I could totally imagine that this would, because, like, the art style, it is pretty much the exact same. And one way that you can absolutely tell that this is in the same style of Bob's Burgers, or that this is a Lauren Bouchard series, is the fact that the design of the characters, it really does make me think about the Muppets, because everybody looks like a godforsaken Muppet, because it's not just their big mouths, but also, if there's one thing in the Lauren Bouchard world that does not exist, it's a chin. Nobody, like, you look at this, nobody here has a chin. It doesn't exist. There's that line that's like, there's that one line that's on their necks that's trying to pretend to be a chin, but it ain't a chin. You know, it's like when people have like a very small chin and they would try to grow a beard. No, that just only gives out the illusion of a chin. This is not a chin. Like, it really does look like some kind of Jim Henson production where you're expecting like puppeteers are in the bottom, like just to pop, just to like perform the different characters.
I should get going.
Who's my special boy?
Me.
Look at you. You are my special boy.
Too bad you can't just stick him back up there, huh?
What?
Nothing.
You know, it's something like that. It does look like a very Muppet-style design. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I mean, if you guys know me, I absolutely adore the Muppets. It's just, I feel like this is something that's more of a coincidence. But also at the same time, like, even though this is just an animated series, it does look like there are moments where it would feature some strong animation as well, like more than usual. And especially the fact that this is a musical series, I'm sure that the animation will have quite a quality boost when you would have whenever you would actually have the musical numbers present. Because there are times in Bob's Burgers as well where the animation is actually somehow stronger than it usually would be, like with some of the subtler moments, and then suddenly when something calls for more action or for more movements, somehow like the animation quality gets a little bit higher than usual. Like a good example is like this part right here, like when you hear Josh Gad singing like a bit of the finale of the song, like here.
Point a park that's so central, the name's not that clever, but screw it, whatever.
Yeah, like you look at Josh Gad's, like you look at Josh Gad's character, or like even like you could tell how like the musical numbers will truly be the highlight, and the animation quality does actually reflect on that. So I just want to say overall that this is definitely going to be much more something that Bob's Burgers fans are going to be more into, more so than like maybe musical fans will get into this as well. But I think this is more like, this is much more recommended. Like, if you're a Bob's Burgers fan, then you'll probably be a lot more interested in this. Like, this is going to be something that will massively hook you all. And, well, like, probably hook you. So, honestly, honestly, with the things that I've heard about how great Bob's Burgers has been over the years, honestly, I could see this have some potential. Like, if it goes well, then I think it's going to be a strong series for Apple TV. I think this might actually work out. So, honestly, we'll probably have to wait and see if things actually do go well, not just for the series, but more for Apple TV Plus. If that is a venture that is actually worth it for Apple. Like, I don't know, like maybe they'll at the end they'll drop out from the streaming wars race, but we'll see with how it goes. I believe, yes, there is actually a release date right now. And for those of you, like, if you are interested in checking out the Central Park series, then all you have to do is wait until May 29th on Apple TV for the series to be released. So, with that said, I would now like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you guys, what do you all think about the Central Park series? Are you guys interested in this? And also, interestingly enough, for those of you who say no, would this series be enough to get you into Apple TV Plus to go and check out Central Park? Or maybe this series is not really for you, or you're not that interested. Let me know what you all think. Alright. Now, let's see what we got here. I have to admit, I'm not too keen on the animation style. I feel this way about a majority of animation geared more towards adult audiences. If more adult animated series were stylized more similarly to Castlevania with similar action and less comedic focus, I'd be more interested in checking out adult-oriented animation. Well, dude, I mean, Castlevania is quite a high order there. Like, there is a lot of work that's put into Castlevania, more so than your typical animated series in general. So I don't know. You're expecting a lot from animated series there, which is not a bad thing. I've heard a lot of great things coming from the Castlevania series, but still, it's like, like, it's a very well crafted show. But but the thing is that the standards of that series far surpasses most animated series that are even on TV or streaming services now. So I'm just saying. Okay. Let's see now. I may not have Apple TV, but I would like to watch this show one day, even if I get an Apple TV Plus subscription or on a few free internet streaming sites like Kim Cartoon. No. We don't, in this house, we don't go to Kim Cartoon or Kiss Cartoons or stuff like that. That's piracy. I ain't advocating, I'm not gonna go advocate for piracy on my podcast here, so skip the Kim Cartoons thing. Just no. Anyways, by the way, did anyone notice that Molly and Cole wear what looks like the exact same clothes as Phineas and Ferb? I did, because Cole's shirt has an orange stripe on it, and Molly wears a white shirt with purple pants. Yeah, actually, that is actually something that I did actually recall seeing on Twitter at one point, where someone made that comparison with the characters, and it is actually true. Is that you look at how you look at how the kids are wearing, like, you look at their clothing, and yeah, it is really, really similar to Phineas and Ferb. Like, maybe there is a connection, maybe there is like some kind of reference to it, but still, it's like, or maybe it's just a coincidence, but I don't know. It's like, yeah, it is true that the clothing that they wear is very, very similar to Phineas and Ferb. Okay, let's see, what else we got? Well, that was certainly interesting. The cast is intriguing and the music is okay, but the art style is kind of generic and the concept is not all that engaging. I might check it out just as long as it doesn't become Family Guy's new jealousy punching bag. But I'm going back to the Muppet comparison. I just want there to be an episode where the characters have an existential crisis and start belching out, "Am I a man? Am I a man? Am I a Muppet?" Oh my god, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. I should go and rewatch that. Yeah, that is true. And I mean, I guess, like, one major thing about this series is that, especially, like, considering it is from Lauren Bouchel, I think execution is really gonna be everything for this series, because, like, you could say the same thing about Bob's Burgers, where the show doesn't sound all that interesting. It sounds like another Simpsons or Family Guy clone, but because of the execution, it manages to surpass them both and turn out to be an intriguing and really engaging animated series. So if they can manage to pull off the execution on Bob's Burgers, then maybe they could do the same thing for Central Park. So we'll see, but it is true that execution will play a major factor onto its success or onto its failure. Okay, let's see now. How many shows or movies have the whole save the park from an evil corporation? I get that parks are important, especially if some people need to look at some green or go for a quick walk. But this plot has been so beaten to the ground. Also, I haven't seen Bob's Burgers, but I have seen another show that involved the same character designer, Sanjay and Craig, and that didn't do too well for me. Even if I do get Apple Plus, I'm going to skip this one. Oh, that's actually interesting. Let's see. I'll go and read one more before we're going to jump onto the next one. I'll see who shall have the lucky thing. Yeah, and then I see someone mentions Castlevania is Ghibli or Pixar compared to most adult animated series. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see. I don't know what this show is going to be rated, but I really wish there was more R-rated musical projects like Cannibal the Musical, a real film by Trey Parker and Matt Stone. No, I think at the most, this would be like PG-13 or just PG, because if they really are, if this would actually be R-rated, then honestly, it would be more upfront with it. Like, that would be at the point where this series would go all out into exploitation mode, where, like, on the trailer, they would give us little hints of, like, violence or gore or nudity or sex or stuff like that. So I don't think this is rated R. I think this is going to be for the same kind of audience as Bob's Burgers, where, like, I guess it would be maybe PG-13 at the most, or maybe just PG in general. That's at least my prediction. But again, for those who do have Apple TV and are interested in checking out Central Park, then all you have to do is just wait until May 29th until you can go into New York's favorite little park. All right, and now we only have one more trailer to go and check out. And this will be a bit of a bonus miscellaneous here, because this is actually for a live-action movie. But this is a live-action movie that I really am keeping an eye on. One that I am quite intrigued to know what they are going to do with this one. Because so far, they've had enough with Pirates of the Caribbean, but now it is time that Disney wants to go to Adventureland and check out another attraction that they want to turn into a movie. So with that said, even though we already got our first trailer, but now it's time that we're going to go on to round 2 to go and check out The Jungle Cruise. So hold on, let me set myself up and let's go and check this out. Yep, I was expecting it this time.
So
I mean, it happened
here?
twice.
There is a legend in the jungles of the Amazon of a tree that heals all. It could change the world, but if it gets into the wrong hands, it could awaken a great evil. I believe that the legend is real.
Which it's not.
And I'm gonna find it.
Which you won't.
And when I do, just imagine the lives that could be saved.
I've been looking for this tree longer than anybody. I've tracked the legend to every village, every island. Nothing. You're searching for something that can't be found.
But you've never had the key.
Let's do something that's safe. Let's go see some elephants.
There are no elephants in the Amazon, and I don't even like elephants.
Lady, everybody likes elephants. Know this about the jungle. Everything that you see wants to kill you, and can. Careful. They could smell fear.
I am not afraid. Oh my gosh.
Who brings a submarine to the Amazon?
Fire!
Right, 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 right.
Good night. Oh, I got you.
Frank, get it.
Hold on.
Come on.
I got it.
Frank.
I don't got it.
No. For goodness sake, just leave me alone. That was a disaster.
Didn't go the way I planned.
And that was Jungle Cruise. And I think the first thing that I just want to discuss about regarding this is that, well, I might as well get my negatives out of the way because, yeah, there are some things that I would criticize a bit. And I mean, the first major thing that I get from this, the first thing that I get from this trailer is that, yeah, this is a very generic treasure hunting movie, or at least with the way that they are presenting with this trailer, it just feels like it's going to be no different than many of the other treasure hunting movies that we have seen before. Like, even Disney has done this a few times. Like, like, this is just going to be like another National Treasure kind of thing, or another Indiana Jones kind of thing, where it's just like the characters are gonna go out and like they're gonna have like this big adventure in order to find the big thing that they want, which in this case is going to be Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt working together in order to go and find this thing called the Tree of Life that is in the Amazon, which somehow has the ability to cure everything. And I don't know if it's too much of a coincidence, which considering our current climate right now, I guess people would want a movie like this where we need to go on this big adventure to find the cure for everything to save everybody. Like who knows? Maybe if this thing ends off sooner than we think, then maybe something like this would be a type of movie that people would need. But yeah, overall, I would say that so far with the story, it does seem that it's very lacking. It's not really that original. And I think, like, even entering upon this, we know what we're getting into. And we know that at the end, like, Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt are gonna go and, like, they will find the Tree of Life. And maybe they'll have, like, a big confrontation with the big bad guy. Which, in here, it seems like they're showing several bad guys in this. Rather it be the militants in the submarine, or it's like the supernatural being, like with the guy that has a snake popping out of his face or something. Like where is that part? Where is that guy? Yeah, like this guy right here. Like you're gonna see like undead Amazon people. But yeah, we know what's gonna happen. We know the story, and it's gonna be predictable. It's gonna be generic. Like, we know what's gonna be happening, and yeah, like, they're gonna, and it does seem like it is the thing, like, even the dynamic between Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson is gonna be generic, where, yeah, they're gonna hate each other at first, but then they're gonna grow a bit of a bond in the movie. It's not necessarily, I don't think it's gonna be, like, a romantic bond, but, you know, it is gonna be, like, something that their friendship is gonna grow to the point where they will respect each other. So, with that said, though, even though this does seem like a very generic movie, I will give it credit that the journey itself does look pretty fun. Like, when you go into these treasure hunting type of movies, you know what's gonna happen, and it's not necessarily the writing or the surprises that you're there for. What you're actually in is the journey itself. That is where it's going to supply the surprises. That's where it's going to supply the action. That's where you're going to find the elements that would make this a summer blockbuster popcorn flick. And so far, I will say, in terms of that, like, as a summer blockbuster popcorn flick, this actually does look like it's gonna be a lot of fun. It actually does look like it will supply a lot of action, and even the visuals are actually fantastic, where, like, honestly, the effects are actually pretty good. I guess some people could debate about, like, the jaguar that's in the bar and stuff like that. Like maybe some people will complain about that. But other than that, like, when you get into, like, some of the supernatural stuff, or a lot of the chase scenes, or even, like, some of the sets are actually pretty impressive. Like, at the end, when we see Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson are in the native islands, or, like, oh, this guy right here, like, apparently, like, this old undead warrior that's going after them and stuff like that. That looks exciting. Like, there's a lot of things that does show. And yeah, here is the like, the sets are actually pretty cool. Like with a lot of these, it does promise that it will be quite a visual spectacle. So that's definitely going to be a lot of fun, and it will supply a lot of great action. And also, another thing that I do want to comment that I actually do like, surprisingly enough, is actually the dynamic between Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt. Now, I did say that their characters do seem generic, and we know how their relationship is going to be throughout the course of the movie. But in here, I actually do like the execution of it, because so far with what they're promising, honestly, the execution of the dynamic between the two, it actually does feel like they're both having a lot of fun, and they actually do work off of each other very well. You know, I do feel like maybe we're going to have, like, another Moana situation with how Maui and Moana do actually work well together, and like, in terms of the movie, to have, like, a strong dynamic between the two. I feel like we could actually have a bit of that kind of relationship onto this film as well. And I mean, like, it is both Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, and both are very well-respected actors. You know that they could do some great work, especially with Disney as well. Like, I will give credit to Emily Blunt. She did really do a great job as Mary Poppins in Mary Poppins Returns, and, well, Dwayne Johnson, and I mean, it's hard not to like him as Maui in Moana. So, like, honestly, the dynamic between the two is also something that I am looking forward to as well. And there is one more thing that I will say that I am personally excited about to see in this, is that, like, they didn't show much of it here, surprisingly enough. Like, they did so more in the first trailer, but it does sound like they are hinting at more references to the ride itself. And now, if you excuse me, I think I'm going to sneeze. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Nope. Okay, never mind. Okay, it's gone. Sorry about that. But anyways, yes. It does sound like they will be referencing more things in the ride as well. Like, one part that I will say that I was a bit crushed about is the fact that they didn't show this part. Like, they don't actually show it.
I've tracked the legend to every village, every island. Nothing. You're searching for something that can't be found.
I'm here. Is this? No,
but you've never had the key.
No, here it is. Here it is.
Let's do something that's safe. Let's go see some elephants.
There are no elephants in the Amazon, and I don't even like elephants.
Lady, everybody likes elephants.
That I want to see. Like, like, if you don't get it, they're pretty much referencing the part where the elephants are kind of taking a bath and stuff like that. They don't actually show it, but they are hinting that we would actually see the scene where the elephants are kind of taking a bath. They're near a waterfall, and you got that one small elephant that's just sitting and using his trunk to splash water around. Like, I want to see, like, there's that Disney side of me that really wants to see that. Like, I want to see, like, yeah, the action and the visuals are great, but what I want to see elephants that are having a bath. I want to see a bunch of elephants coming together. I want to see the elephant that's sitting at the waterfall just splashing around, and I want Dwayne Johnson to go and make a really corny and bad joke about how elephants never forget to go and pack their trunks. I want to see that thing happen, man. I want to see, I need that satisfaction of, as a Disney Parks fan, I want my elephants. I'm pretty much like Bart Simpson in that one episode of The Simpsons where pretty much I'm watching this trailer, and after that moment, there's a part of me that's like, where's my elephant? Where's my elephant? Where's my elephant? And also, if I can go and make a little guess as well, like maybe I could be wrong on this, but like you see the militant villains, like the people that are in the submarine that are going, that are trying to chase after Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson. I'm gonna take a guess right now, but I feel like these guys are gonna be used for a reference in the ride where they're gonna be climbing up either like a tall tree or they're gonna climb up a pole, and they're gonna try to run away from a rhino that's trying to get them. And like you'll see them like they're looking down at the pole, looking at the rhino, going like, whoa. Like if you guys know what I mean, if you guys know the Jungle Cruise, then you know exactly the part that I mean. And on top of that you're gonna get like you'll have a bunch of hyenas that are on the side that are just laughing at them. I'm just making a guess, but I feel like those are the guys that are gonna go and make that reference. So I will say overall, even though I do feel like as a movie, it's not really gonna give me much substance, I feel like it's gonna be great as a summer blockbuster popcorn flick. It's not the story, but it's gonna be the journey itself, where you're gonna see Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, who feel like they have a strong dynamic together, that they're going off on this journey to go and find this treasure or this tree of life, and they're gonna go through a lot of action. So I feel like in terms of that, as a popcorn flick, I think it's definitely gonna go and deliver. And I think this is gonna be, like, if it works out, if things go well for Disney with this movie, then I think it's gonna be a highlight for this summer as a fun action flick. And maybe, who knows, this could be the Pirates of the Caribbean they're looking for, that they don't need Pirates of the Caribbean, they now got Jungle Cruise. So I guess we will have to go and wait and see. But it does make me intrigued. It does make me curious. I'm not as excited for this as I would be with Soul, but, I am curious to check this one out. And if you guys are interested in seeing this, then all you have to do is just go and wait until, I believe the release date is July 24th. Yes, July 24th is going to be the release date. So, we'll have to wait a while, but, I am intrigued about this one. I definitely am curious to see what they got here. So, with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and now I want to ask you all, what do you all think about this trailer of Jungle Cruise? Does this make you a bit more excited to go and check this out? Are you guys interested in seeing Jungle Cruise? Are you not interested? Do you want to get, are you going to pass on this? Let me know what you all think. Okay, so, what do we got here? I was skeptical after this, but after this trailer, I'm not really hyped. The magic tree that can heal all wounds sounds convoluted as hell, the story seems generic as you could tell, and overall, it sounds like a glorified Jumanji ripoff. Kind of ironic considering we got Dwayne Johnson. But here's hoping this is more like Curse of the Black Pearl and less like Haunted Mansion. Yeah, I mean, I guess it is true. On the other hand, you do have a good point. I'm kind of surprised I forgot about that as well. That it is true that this could get a little bit too much vibes of trying to copy the recent Jumanji movies, especially when those are actually doing very well for Sony. So hopefully it will find, at best, I am hoping that it will find a way to get away from that comparison, to get away from seeming like a Jumanji clone. But yeah, you do bring up a good point, and maybe that could be something that could hinder this movie, especially at the box office, where people might not be interested because they could tell that this is just Disney trying to capitalize on Sony's success with what they had with the Jumanji movies, especially with having Dwayne Johnson star in a jungle-themed adventure movie that families could also come in and enjoy. Let's see now. What else do we got here? After watching the second trailer, it looks okay. Outside of some laughably bad visuals like the snake coming out of the villain's mouth and the generic treasure hunting story, it does look promising, and there are some fun, including Dwayne and Blunt's performance, so I will stay optimistic. I don't expect this movie to perform great like the Jumanji movies, where both sequels were really good, including at the box office as well, but I expect this movie to be just good or average at best. I guess we'll see, yeah. Honestly, I feel like it is something that we will have to wait and see with how it's going to perform, how audiences are going to react to it, because with Disney, I feel like it's very rare for them to do okay. It's rare for them to go right in the middle, because with their movies nowadays, it's either they got billion-dollar hits or they got major box office bombs. Like, they would make some of the biggest box office bombs in recent years. And funny enough, a lot of people seem to forget that, where, yeah, Disney is making, yeah, like especially last year, Disney has made, like, the grand majority of the most successful movies of the year, but at the same time, they're also responsible for some of the biggest box office bombs in recent years. So there is that as well. Let's see, what else do we got here? Let's see. I thought hold on a sec. Ah, crap. Hold on, sorry about that. I just need to fix something up. As my computer's just or I think it's just my mouse. Anyways, crap, okay. I'll try to see if I can, crap, I think I lost my, crap. Anyways, I'll see, if I can read some here. Okay, I got one. At first, I wanted to check out the film because I love the Jungle Cruise ride, but after this trailer, it reminds me too much of Pirates of the Caribbean. Even the Axe character looks a bit like one of Davy Jones's crew members. And the Jumanji movies. The animation and visuals look stunning, but I'll need more from it. I will say my biggest hope is that the movie includes the song Skipper Dan by Weird Al, or at least hippos wiggling their ears. Oh, I'm sure we'll get plenty of hippos wiggling their ears. Also, yeah, this is what I wanted to do. I thought I took you... Yeah, did I take you away? I don't know. Hold on. Yeah, I did. Okay, what the fridge? All right. Anyways, I thought... I don't know. Sorry. I thought I banned a troll, but... I don't know, someone must have brought him back. But anyways, going back into this, let's see. I'll read one more comment before we get into our next story. This looks a lot of fun, even though the writing looks weak and the action looks fun and it looks visually impressive and the actors look like they're having fun, and it could have a lot of references to the ride, so I'm interested. Okay, so overall I do see that we do have some mixed reactions to this, but who knows? We're not expecting anything great coming from this, but could be fun. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Okay, now, with all that said, with all that out of the way, now that we've all had our fun, it is now time that we're going to go into the serious subject. And yes, this is the grand finale of this episode, so might as well be direct with this. Let's go ahead and talk about the coronavirus. Now, I'm not going to go and try to go and make like a full general subject matter about the coronavirus, because I'm sure at this point many of you have heard about the coronavirus. You've heard so much talking about it on the news and how it's growing more and more as a serious pandemic, and I'm not going to go and repeat many of the same things that you have already heard. What I want to go and focus on is regarding its impact in the entertainment industry and consequentially how that is going to be affecting you. So the big thing with the coronavirus, at least in terms of the entertainment industry, well, one big thing, of course, is the fact that it is canceling or postponing many major events. Like, you got many festivals, many conventions, many expos that are either postponing their time or they're full-on canceling their time for this year. Or, like, you would even have, like, public areas, like theme parks and stuff like that, that are closing off. Like, even Universal Hollywood and even the Disney parks in general, like Disneyland, Disney World, and, like, many of the other international Disney parks that are closing off as well. And, like, if you want to know, like, a bigger list, I actually have this one big list here from Animation Magazine where, they actually highlight many of the events that do focus on visual effects, animation, or gaming and stuff like that. A lot of them that have been closed off. A lot of the festivals, like the licensing expo has been you got the licensing expo that has been postponed, and I'm just going to list off a few examples. You got the Toronto and the Toffee Animation Expo, or the Toffee Animation Festival, that is being postponed as well to a later time. And these are all these are all conventions and festivals that are supposed to be coming out sometime either in May or in April or even this month in March. But they're either canceled or they have to be postponed. You got places like, like I said, like Disneyland, Universal Studios Hollywood, Tokyo Disneyland, Hong Kong Disneyland that are closed off. The Egyptian and Aero Theater are closed off. You got the Society of Illustrators Museum that is closed. You got, like, the New York International Children's Festival that is full-on canceled. The Glass Animation Festival is full-on canceled. Canada's Screen Week and Awards Gala, full-on canceled. Even gaming events like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series in Charlotte, North Carolina. Sorry, in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was trying to remember what that NC stands for, but the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series in North Carolina is being postponed. WonderCon is postponed. The Tribeca Film Festival has been postponed. E3 has been canceled this year, which is one of the major ones. Cartoons on the Bay in Italy has been postponed, and so much more. Like, you could see from this, and even the one of the biggest festivals, you got the SXXSW Conference and Festivals in Austin that's full-on canceled this year, and even the Emerald City Comic Con has been postponed to this summer. You could see how this list has been huge of the things and the conventions and all that kind of stuff that have been canceled, and many events that are all postponed because of the coronavirus, because there are plenty of places as well, like California and in Quebec, they actually implemented new rules that during this pandemic, you're not allowed to have an area that would have 250 or more people. Like, you got to close off these areas that would have major public gatherings. And that's also why you would also have major sporting events in which they are full on cancel. Like, the seasons are full on suspended, like hockey, baseball, basketball, tennis, maybe soccer, and many more. Like, pretty much all, like, the grand majority of sports have pretty much been canceled, especially the fact that when there are some athletes that actually did get tested positive for having the coronavirus. And I will say right now, even with me, I am curious as to what's happening with some of my stuff as well, because if you guys don't know, I actually was invited to be a guest at Phoenix, Arizona, where I would be at the Phoenix Fan Fusion, which is supposed to be coming out later in May, like between May 21st to May 24th. And from there, I am keeping a careful eye with what's going on. Now, there is no announcement as of yet if the convention is canceled or if it's postponed or anything like that. But if there are any updates, I will let you know. And this is actually a big convention, by the way. This is actually like one of the bigger ones as well, because it's not just YouTubers like me, Toucan LDM, I Love Kim Possible a lot, and Cell Specs that are going to be there, but there's also going to be a lot of major ones as well. There's also going to be like Jodie Benson, Jim Cummings, Billy West, Joe DiMaggio. Just recently, Dave Bautista was announced to be as a special guest. The cast of Sailor Moon, some actors that were in Ruby, and many, many, many more. Like, this is a huge convention, and so far there is no announcement if it's going to be canceled or postponed or anything. But if there is, I will go and let you know. But it's not just events. It's not just these public gatherings. It's not just conventions that are getting canceled, but it's also taking a major toll in the film industry as well, especially when you got studios that are delaying their movies. Like, this article on Variety actually does highlight, like, this is just one of the examples of the fact that Disney has actually delayed many movies that are supposed to be released in a few weeks, but because of all this, they decided to put it later on, they're gonna postpone it to later this year. We don't know when, but they have officially delayed the Mulan remake, which was supposed to come out in 2 weeks. They're delaying New Mutants again, but at least this time it's not its fault. And then there's also Antlers as well. So they are delaying those movies. And those are not the only ones as well. There are plenty of other movies that had to be delayed. There is also Universal that went and delayed A Quiet Place 2. And even a big one, actually, is going to be Fast and Furious 9, where that's not going to be released until in next year, in 2021. So that's the biggest delay for a movie because of the coronavirus. And then there's also a few others as well, like there's Sony that delayed Peter Rabbit 2 to August, and probably the biggest one, and also the first one to delay its release date because of the coronavirus, and the one that's going to top the rest of them is No Time to Die, the next James Bond movie. They're delaying their release date because of the coronavirus, and you could definitely tell why they have to go and do so, because when it comes to the coronavirus and the way that, like, because of this entire pandemic, they're asking people to stay at home, to keep their social outings at a minimum, or just keep it, like, only restricted to do the ones that are absolutely necessary. At that point, they gotta go. Like, it's honestly because of that like, we're seeing all these delays. Like, now less people are gonna go into theaters, and it's really gonna go and take a major toll on the movies that are released right now. Like, the movies that are released in theaters right now, like, they're gonna get a major serious hit. And one major one that has been mentioned before is actually Onward. And you guys know Onward as the latest Pixar movie. It's already been a little over a week. And you can actually tell by the box office numbers that even though it has been just over a week, the numbers are massively suffering. Like, you could tell, as I am recording this on March 14th, by the way, so far, Onward has made a total of $53 million domestically and a worldwide total of $81.5 million. Already more than a week, and it has yet to hit $100 million at the box office, which is really painful for not just an animated film, but for a Pixar film especially. Like, that's going to be a massive blow for this one. And I mean, yes, technically, I do understand that there are several other factors that do play on Onward underperforming compared to the other Pixar films. Now, before I continue, I just want to point out that no, the gay Cyclops thing, that does not count as a reason for this to underperform. That is not an issue at all, and the only people who have a serious problem with that gay Cyclops are just homophobes and bigots. And because of what's happening right now, they're only using the whole gay Cyclops thing in order to enforce their bigotry onto others. That is it, okay? That's the only thing that I just want to go and emphasize on that. But anyways, going back into what I was talking about, of course there are other factors onto why Onward would be underperforming. Like, one major reason would be the fact that it's not as good as the other Pixar films, where in terms of its critical response from both critics and audiences, like, there's a lot that they do enjoy it, but they don't like it as much as some of the other Pixar films per se, where it's not necessarily, like, even in terms of, like, the recent Pixar films that we have gotten, it's not, oh, excuse me, with this, honestly, it's not even in the same league as, like, Coco or Incredibles 2 or Toy Story 4. And, okay, yeah, I do understand, like, some people are saying, like, even the LGBT community isn't happy with the Cyclops. Yeah, it is true, but what I mean is that I'm not saying, like, anybody who doesn't like the gay Cyclops thing is a homophobe or stuff like that. I mean more like, well, I do understand, like, the LGBT community is not happy with it because, like, it's not really using that, like, they're not really presenting that much. You know, it's like the usual typical Disney thing that they do as present, like, heavily marketing it as their first gay character when she literally just had that one line and that's it. But I mean more, like, what I meant more is that if you see people that have a serious issue with the fact that there is a gay character in a Pixar film in the first place, even though it's literally just one line, if you see those people having a problem with the fact that a gay character exists in a Pixar movie, then that's the point where they are a homophobe. But yes, okay, just want to make a bit of that clarification. Okay, so anyways, going back to what I was talking about, the fact that Onward is not as strong as the other Pixar movies, from there, it is true that, like, it's not as good, like, not even as good as some of the recent Pixar movies, like, it's not even as good as, like, Coco or Incredibles 2 or Toy Story 4, and from there, because it's not as good, there's not that much of a demand for people to really go and check this out, so that does play a factor, but there is no denying on, the fact that the coronavirus is taking a major toll on the performance of Onward, because people are less likely to go into theaters and they're not going to go and check out the movies that are on right now. So it's not necessarily just Onward, but also, like, there are going to be other movies that are going to be suffering from this as well, like like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie or Birds of Prey, or let me just see, like, what other movies that are in theaters, well, okay, I won't say The Invisible Man as well, because, like, The Invisible Man literally has a budget of, like, $7 million, so I think that film is doing okay, but movies like, The Way Back, or Call of the Wild, or even some of the upcoming ones, like, some of the new ones, actually, like I Still Believe, or Bloodshot, like, there's going to be a lot of them that are going to be massively suffering, and that's why we are seeing these movies that are delaying their release date, because they don't want to be released during the time when the coronavirus is at its all-time high, and people are kind of paranoid to the point of just staying indoors, that they just want to stick around and, like, not be in an area where a bunch of strangers that will be all around them, where they don't know if they're either sick or not. So that's why we do see a lot of delays, and if there are going to be more even after this episode, then honestly, at that point, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, The thing that I'm pretty shocked about is the fact that I have yet to see Trolls World Tour get delayed. In fact, Universal, in a sense, they kind of doubled down in a way, because not too long ago, I just learned that they kind of moved up its release date to April 10th. I thought it was going to be on April 17th, but yeah, it looks like they're doubling down on that, but maybe it could change pretty soon. Like, maybe they're going to go and delay that one as well, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But it's not just the release dates that are going to be delayed as well, but also it's a bunch of movies. A bunch of movies that are in production. They're going to be delayed. Like, there's a lot of them, like the Little Mermaid remake, the Home Alone remake, Peter Pan and Wendy, the Baz Luhrmann Elvis movie, Mission Impossible 7, Birds of Paradise, The Nightingale, Shang-Chi, and so much more. These are movies that are currently in development, and filmmakers are currently working on those films, but because of this, they couldn't even go and go work onto their productions. Like right now, like, all these projects have to be put into a massive halt because of the whole coronavirus situation. And it's not just movies, but a whole bunch of TV shows. You guys might have heard recently about how there's been, you might have heard about how there's a lot of game shows and there's a lot of reality shows, and also a lot of talk shows where they're restricting them from having any audiences whatsoever. You're not, like, they're not allowed to have an audience be presented because of the whole coronavirus epidemic. And a lot, like, and there's a lot of stuff, like, a lot of them, like, they're either delaying their shows, they're putting a halt on the production, or they're still continuing but having no audience. And, like, the TV list, like, there's a massive list, like, of like, productions that are being stopped, or stuff that has been impacted but they're still kind of going. But there's been a whole lot. Like, I see, like, Atlanta, Walking Dead, The Ellen Show, Fargo, like The Flash, Kung Fu, Grey's Anatomy, The Price is Right, America's Got Talent, The Morning Show, The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, FBI, Chicago Fire, NCIS, Survivor, The Amazing Race, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, The Wendy Williams Show, Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, Lucifer, Supergirl, Dynasty, and so much more. All these things are being delayed because of what's happening with the coronavirus. So honestly, at this point, you gotta keep in mind that while currently right now we are seeing the short-term consequences in the entertainment industry, there's also a lot of long-term consequences as well, because not only would you have, like, the major events that are being postponed or canceled, which gives them less time to go and actually market their features and stuff like that, but at the same time, we are seeing productions that are being put to a halt. We are seeing a lot of movies that are delaying their release date, where in the long run, it could be possible some people might feel a bit overwhelmed with the amount of like, movies that are coming out, or the amount of productions that had to be delayed because of this entire pandemic. And I will say this. Now, I know that when it comes to the whole pandemic, when it comes to the entire coronavirus thing, I know that there are people out there that feel like they do have varying opinions on this. Like, I know that there are some that feel like it truly is the apocalypse, and they feel like it totally is, like, the end of the world. And there are some people that do feel like it is blown out of proportion, that they feel like everybody is exaggerating on the whole situation. But at the end of the day, it is a pandemic, regardless of how you feel about the situation. And people are taking precaution and they are treating it like it's a serious emergency. And I mean, like with the coronavirus, it is an emergency because we got over like hundreds of thousands, like I believe like we got over 100,000 people that are being infected, that actually did get, that did catch the coronavirus. And we do have some casualties as well. Like we did have some people that actually did die from the coronavirus, or I believe like maybe the numbers are much bigger than I thought, but you guys know what I am talking about with the whole situation. That's why people are taking precaution. That's why like everything has to be put to a halt. And now the top priority is everyone's health and everyone's safety so that they could go and do the best they can. Now, I did do my best to try to go and find some good news on the situation. And while I will say there may not be some things that are better, at least we are at the point where we are starting to see how things are not getting worse. Like, for example, like in China, for example, it looks like they have peaked in terms of what's happening with the coronavirus, where now things are settling down. Again, it's not getting better, but it's no longer getting worse, where now the amount of people that are catching the coronavirus is now going tremendously down. And also, this is something that I just saw last night, actually. It's the University of Toronto teaming up with the Sunnybrook Health Science Center. They actually did found a way to actually isolate the coronavirus, which will allow them to go and do more research to know what they can do with the virus and how to destroy it. So from there, we are seeing a bit of advancements, but again, it's not necessarily something that's getting better, but at least we are at a point where we can see the ways that it's not gonna get worse. Because there are still other countries that are unfortunately getting it so much worse, like so many places in Europe and especially in the United States, which I feel sorry for Americans, because I can definitely tell where that things are not gonna get better for them. Because with the way that the government there is handling it, it's just gonna make things so much worse. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it'll eventually end up being called either the Trump virus or the GOP virus, because of the ways that they have so poorly handled the situation, with how Donald Trump fired the whole pandemic he fired the whole pandemic team back in 2018 because of his racist grudge against Obama and stuff like that. Like, you could tell that they are going to take full responsibility of the poor management and the poor ways they handled trying to contain the coronavirus. And if things do get worse, it really is going to be on Trump. If there is, like, I will say, if there is one good thing coming out of the coronavirus, is that it does have a strong chance in ending Trump's presidency, where even his supporters will wake up and realize what me and the grand majority of the world has been saying about Donald Trump, that he is nothing but a low-life con artist. But anyways, I do wish the best of luck for everyone, and even in the United States, I do hope things are going to get better. Like, I did hear that the House did actually approve of a bill to go and make things better for people to go and get free tests and some Medicaid and a lot of help for the coronavirus. It just depends on the GOP to keep their politics to themselves and actually suck up their pride to go and actually agree to help out with the Democrats to pass this bill, instead of only thinking of themselves and only thinking of their party. Because that's the point where they are at right now. They have to put people over party, or else it's probably certain that by November they're going to lose their jobs. So anyways, going back into this, like, it is a pretty serious situation, and like, going back into the entertainment industry with all the delays and all the postpones and all the cancellations, for people like you, like, it pretty much means that you do have to wait, and it's probably for the best that you gotta stay indoors. And even like Like even streaming services, they are taking full opportunity to go and get you covered to help out in this situation. Like even Disney has actually recently announced that very soon, actually, I believe starting March 15th, you guys are actually going to get Frozen 2 and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker much earlier than planned on Disney Plus. So you will actually have that opportunity. So, like, honestly, the best thing that we have to do right now is that we all have to stay safe. That's the most important thing. And for those of you that are curious to know what are the best precautions that you can do, well, like, if you want to know the best ways to go and fight against the coronavirus to help yourself and to help the people around you, then all you got to do is just remember 4 major things that you got to do. The 4 big things. Number 1 is to stay calm, no matter what. And I say stay calm, not just because of the people who are panicking about the situation and are freaking out and treating it like it's the end of the world. I also mean keep calm to the people that feel like this thing is so overdramatic, that feels like this whole situation is blown out of proportions. You have no idea how many people I've seen on social media, like on Facebook and Twitter, that they get so angry at the fact that they feel like this thing is way too exaggerated, that they feel like that the coronavirus is not as serious as the media puts it out to be. They get so, like, they really flip their lid. They get massively upset about this. And because of that, like, regardless if it's out of fear or out of anger, because they end up getting so emotionally invested, that's the easiest way for misinformation to actually go and spread out. And the last thing that we need right now is fake news or misinformation to be spread about the coronavirus. So for now, the best thing you got to do is stay calm. You need to keep your cool and be relaxed about it, okay? It's not the time to get too emotionally invested about what it means with the coronavirus or how it's impacting our culture right now. So just stay calm. Now, number 2, I would like to add, you don't need that much toilet paper. I really need to go and emphasize that right now. You gotta keep in mind, toilet paper is not a freaking necessity to live. Toilet paper is very important, but it shouldn't be as important as food or water. So you need to try to go and reorganize your priority, and don't flip out that you're in a desperate need to buy as much toilet paper as possible. So just keep that in mind. You don't need that much toilet paper. Now, thing number 3 is that you need to learn and practice the art of social distancing. You need to go and keep your outings at a bare minimum. And you got to make sure you stay at home at all times, especially if you are sick. Then the only place you have to stay is at home to make sure you make yourself better. Yes, you got to go and make yourself self-quarantine. So unless it is absolutely necessary that you need to go out, you gotta stay indoors. Like whatever, like social gatherings you gotta do, even if it's just a little hangout with your friends, that can wait. And if you want to talk to your friends, there are ways that you can do so online, or you can talk to them on the phone or text them and stuff like that. So for now, you gotta keep your social interactions at a minimum. And finally, the 4th and final one, I'm gonna leave it to the chat wall. Guys, what do you think is the last thing that I'm going to say is the most important thing? Let me know. Write down in the chat wall, what would be the most important thing that you got to do in this situation? Let me know. Like, try to say it. Yes. Oh my God, you guys are great. That is perfect. Yes. Everybody is saying it. Wash your hands. No matter what. More than usual even, you always have to wash your hands. Even before I did this podcast, I went and washed my hands. Like, and even like when I close this podcast off, you gotta wash your hands. In fact, if need be, if you need a motivation to go and wash your hands, I can even sing you a little song to make you go and wash your hands, man. You gotta do it, you know? You gotta wash your hands. I wanna wash my hands. And when I wash them, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that they're washed. I can't hide. I can't hide. I can't hide. Oh, God. Sorry I broke that. Okay, that did not come out as good as I thought. Hold on. Let me retry that. I can't hide. Never mind. Screw it. But you get what I mean. I know it's stupid. I know it's stupidly corny. But the point is, at least it is a motivator for you to go and wash your hands. It's always important. Always do so and wash them frequently, no matter what you go and do. So that is the important thing. So overall, just keep your social interactions at a minimum. You don't need that much toilet paper. Keep calm, wash your hands, and stay safe. Even though this is a pretty scary time, but as long as we follow these precautions, we're gonna come out okay. And eventually, there will be a moment this will end. Maybe this will take a month. Maybe this will be how we'll live throughout the entire spring season. Or maybe this will be throughout the entire year. But the important thing to note is that we should all stay safe no matter what. So that's one major thing that I would like to go and emphasize. So, now I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to go and ask you all about the whole situation. How do you guys feel? How are you guys doing during this entire situation? Are you guys doing all right? Are you guys taking precautions? How do you feel about the whole situation? Let me know what you all think. Let's see. This is very concerning considering this is a pandemic we are dealing with. Hopefully, there is a vaccine soon. These delays are awful, with many people getting sick. Just proves why we need Bernie Sanders' Medicare for all. The coronavirus is very dangerous, and I'll stay at home washing my hands. I will also stay calm and hope this ends. All right, that's very good. As an American and North Carolinian, I'm very shaken from what I'm facing. My school, UNCG, has been suspended for a week before switching to online class. All sports media has been postponed, including ACC tournaments, which I was there on Tuesday before canceled on Thursday. Tom Hanks and his wife has been infected by the virus and just shaken by this. Yes, that is actually true, where there are a few notable people that have been infected by the coronavirus. You got Tom Hanks and his wife that's been infected. Like, even in politics, here in Canada, Justin Trudeau's wife actually got the coronavirus. We don't know about Justin yet. And I mean, let's be honest. Is anybody going to be surprised if Donald Trump got the coronavirus? I mean, the clues are one by one coming out. And I think there could be a clue there that old Trumpy boy is trying to hide something. He's just trying to hide it because he cannot use his coronavirus to his political advantage. But anyways, let's see here. It's not a great week for me that I have to deal with all this crap, but I really hope the future, if the virus can be contained no matter what, please stay safe. And I mean, honestly, I do understand, because this is a very scary time that we are facing right now. So for now, we just gotta, that's the big thing that we have to do, is that no matter what, we have to go and stay safe. Let's see now. What else do we have? What other comments? Yikes. It's scary how much the coronavirus has affected the world by not just canceling conventions, but also postponing major events and affecting companies. Now we have to do our best to help those who are vulnerable to the virus, like the elderly. Yeah, honestly, we have to do what we can. And I mean, even at that, this is honestly a little bit of a situation where we would have to protect ourselves beforehand and everything else. As much as we want to help others, Like, sometimes we might end up facing precautions where the only people we can protect is just ourselves. Like, actually, just before starting this episode of the podcast, I was just listening to the news where the premier of Quebec actually did reveal that he is actually blocking people, like, pretty much I don't know if it's like a strict ban, but pretty much putting out a major precaution that people should not go and visit the elderly during this time, considering that they are the most susceptible to actually catching the coronavirus. So it can be dangerous. So we'll have to wait and see with what's going on. Okay, let's see. It's official, coronavirus is no longer a laughing matter. Maybe the delay of Peter Rabbit 2 isn't a huge loss, or maybe it's just me. But with all the delays and cancellations, all I just gotta add is wash your damn hands. I just like to add that it's funny that in this time when cinemas is being delayed or postponed, the one that will be surviving throughout all this is frickin' Trolls. Weird you think that this pandemic would be able to stop the feeling. In a way, yeah, and honestly, I would not be surprised if Universal decides to postpone that. I'm honestly shocked myself that they're still keeping that movie, to be released during that time, especially for an animated film. I think those should be like the first ones to get delayed, because you guys know that animated films can be freaking expensive. I don't fully know what's the budget of Trolls World Tour, but if they're actually going to be releasing it on April 10th, then that's immediately a huge loss for DreamWorks and for Universal. It's either they got to immediately delay it, or they just got to cancel it altogether. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a dumb thing for them to keep Trolls in theaters. Let's see now. What else do we got here? We got some of them. Even E3's been canceled. Also, some of the animation studios are temporarily closed, and employees have to work at home if they are still healthy. There are still some events proceeding as planned, like the Olympics and Comic-Con San Diego, but they're not telling how long the virus is going to be with us. It might take months, over a year, or even more years. I mean, the Black Plague lasted for 7 years, but that was before we had a lot of advanced medications, and hopefully this virus won't last long. And that's probably the one scary thing about the coronavirus, is the fact that we don't know how long it's going to last. Maybe it will take forever, maybe it'll just be this month, but that's the thing. The thing is that it feels like it just happened so fast. Like, it hasn't been like a few days where it feels like our lives were normal and everything was just going as usual. Like, we are aware about the coronavirus, but it didn't seem like that much of a serious situation. It wasn't until like either Wednesday or Thursday that things got extremely serious, and now the whole world is considering it as a serious pandemic. So at this point, it really did hit us fast, and it's shocking the way that it kind of grew exponentially. So and especially with how different countries are handling it differently, and there might be some that will be able to finish it off quickly, and there might be others that might take a while for them. That's the big thing, that we don't know how it's going to go. It's just, we don't know when this will end. We know that it's starting off massively, but we don't know if we made it to the peak, or if if we're seeing improvement, or we don't know if it's ending. Let's see here. I'll just read one more before we close this off. I'm hoping we can overcome this. I'm very disappointed that they canceled events like E3 and delayed movies like New Mutants again. Seriously, that movie is just cursed and cannot catch a break. Also, am I the only one who thinks it's weird that Disney did not decide to delay Black Widow? Well, that's the thing. Just like I said, we don't know how long this is going to last. And I mean, yeah, they didn't delay movies like Black Widow, but we know that this thing is going to be happening not only throughout this month, but also throughout the month of April. We're not 100% sure what if it's really going to be affecting stuff in May or June and the following months afterwards. Like, for now, the best we can do is just take it one step at a time. We'll probably wait and see in the month of April if it still continues, and maybe Disney would go and consider to go and delay some of their movies like Black Widow or maybe other features. But with that said, though, that should go and conclude this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. So I would like to go and say thank you all so much for watching, and thank you all so much for listening. Like, at least it has been fun, checking out all these trailers and have a fun talk about this. But at the end of the day, I just would like to wish everyone to go and stay safe, and always remember to keep calm and wash your hands. So with all that said and done, thank you all so much for watching, thank you all so much for listening, and until next time, see you later, dudes.